The year is 2045. A teenager gets their license and takes a driving test, but not with an instructor sitting beside them. Instead, they face a computer system that evaluates their skills against autonomous vehicle standards. Most will fail. Within the next few decades, the ability to drive manually will become a relic, something people view the same way we now look at handwriting letters or operating a rotary phone. The question isn't whether this will happen. The real question is, when exactly will governments decide that human drivers are too dangerous to allow on public roads? It sounds extreme, but consider the trajectory we're already on. Over the past 5 years, autonomous vehicle technology has moved from theoretical possibility to commercial reality. Companies are conducting millions of miles of real-world testing. Governments are passing legislation to accommodate these vehicles. Insurance companies are adjusting their models. Major automakers are investing hundreds of billions into autonomous systems. This isn't a fringe technology anymore. This is the future of transportation, and it's arriving faster than most people realize. The evidence against human drivers. Consider these numbers carefully. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports that nearly 94% of traffic collisions are caused by driver error. Every single year, approximately 1.19 million people die globally due to traffic accidents. In the United States alone, distracted driving, drunk driving, speeding, and poor decision-making result in thousands of preventable deaths annually. Meanwhile, Waymo's autonomous vehicles have demonstrated a crash rate of just 2.1 incidents per million miles. That's 2-3 times lower than the average human driver. Over more than 170 million rider-only miles driven without any human behind the wheel. Waymo reported an 85% reduction in injury-causing crashes compared to human benchmarks. These aren't marginal improvements. They're transformative numbers that directly translate to saved lives. A comprehensive study published in peer-reviewed research analyzing over 100 autonomous vehicle accidents against 35,000 human-driven collisions found that self-driving cars are safer than humans in most accident scenarios. The data is unambiguous. Autonomous vehicles reduce pedestrian collisions, prevent broadside accidents, and eliminate the majority of crashes caused by human negligence. Insurance companies already know this. Government regulators are seeing the data. The only question is how long before they act on it. Right now, 94% of crashes happen because humans make mistakes. They look at their phones, they misjudge distances, they drive while drowsy, they speed through school zones. Autonomous systems don't have these limitations. They don't get tired, they don't get angry, they don't text their friends at 70 miles per hour. An autonomous vehicle doesn't decide to run a red light because it's in a hurry. These systems are predictable, consistent, and measured in their response to every road situation. Think about the specific advantages. Autonomous vehicles can detect hazards at distances far greater than human eyes can see. Modern LiDAR systems detect objects beyond 1,000 meters, giving the vehicle reaction time measured in seconds rather than the fraction of a second a human driver gets. These sensors capture data continuously, 360 degrees around the vehicle. Cameras see through glare and darkness with clarity humans never could. Radar penetrates fog and snow where human vision fails. All of this data feeds into artificial intelligence systems that have processed millions of miles of real-world driving scenarios, learning patterns humans take decades to accumulate. When a pedestrian suddenly runs into the street, an autonomous vehicle detects them and reacts before the child even clears the sidewalk. When weather conditions deteriorate, the autonomous system adjusts speed and following distance automatically. When another vehicle behaves erratically, the autonomous system predicts that behavior based on patterns recognized through deep learning. It doesn't hope the other driver does something reasonable. It prepares for multiple possible outcomes and positions itself accordingly. The statistical advantage becomes even clearer when you examine specific accident types. Autonomous vehicles essentially eliminate drunk driving accidents because they never drive impaired. They eliminate distracted driving accidents because they're always focused. They reduce speeding accidents because they maintain appropriate speeds for conditions. They reduce fatigue-related crashes because they don't experience fatigue. When you remove the majority of crash causes, the result is inevitable. Safety improves dramatically. The safety argument alone could justify banning human drivers within the next 30 years. But there's more. The economic and logistical case for automation. From an economic perspective, the transition from human drivers to autonomous systems represents a staggering opportunity. Autonomous trucks could run continuously through the night, reducing traffic during peak hours and addressing the critical shortage of truck drivers. Currently, the trucking industry faces a shortage of 3.6 million drivers, with only 6.5% of commercial drivers under age 25 by 2029 and estimated 3 4 million drivers will retire. Autonomous trucking solves this crisis entirely while simultaneously reducing costs, improving delivery times, and eliminating the fatigue-related accidents that plague commercial transportation. In urban environments, robotaxis operating at scale could cut transportation costs dramatically. The autonomous vehicle market, currently valued at hundreds of billions, is projected to reach trillions within the next decade. Cities could transition to a mobility-as-a-service model where private car ownership becomes obsolete. Instead of parking lots taking up 30% of urban space, those areas could become parks, housing, or green zones. Instead of congestion from millions of individual drivers making poor decisions, smart systems coordinate traffic flows for maximum efficiency. Governments are already moving forward with autonomous vehicle legislation. More than 35 states in the United States have passed their own autonomous vehicle laws. In 2025 alone, lawmakers in 25 states introduced 67 new bills related to self-driving vehicles. These bills aren't debating whether automation should happen, they're sorting out the technical details of when and how it will be implemented. Some states like Utah have passed incredibly permissive legislation allowing autonomous vehicles to operate freely. Others like California have more regulatory frameworks in place. But the direction is unmistakable. The technology is improving at an extraordinary pace. Tesla announced hands-off, eyes-off driving capability beginning in 2025. BMW certified its Level 3 autonomy system for commercial use. Waymo, Cruise, and other companies are already operating robotaxi services in multiple cities. These aren't concept vehicles or distant promises. Real autonomous vehicles are moving real passengers on real roads right now. The technology works, it's safer than humans, and it's only getting better. The path to a human-free future, the transition will happen gradually but inevitably. First, autonomous vehicles will dominate commercial trucking and delivery services. Then robotaxis will expand from limited geofenced areas to entire cities. Then highway driving will transition to autonomous systems. Finally, all manual driving will become illegal not overnight, but through a series of increasingly restrictive regulations that make it economically impossible and legally hazardous to drive yourself. Think about how this unfolds in practice. Insurance companies stop offering coverage for human drivers due to liability and cost, or premiums become so expensive that driving yourself becomes a luxury only the wealthy can afford. Cities implement congestion pricing that charges massive fees for vehicles with human drivers. Then comes the legislation hands-off. Eyes-off systems become mandatory in new vehicles. Manual driving becomes restricted to private property only. Eventually, it becomes completely illegal on public roads. This isn't dystopian science fiction. It's the logical endpoint of current technological and regulatory trends. The data showing autonomous vehicles are safer is already there. The economic incentive to automate is already there. The manufacturing capability to produce these vehicles at scale is already there. Companies like Waymo are already operating robotaxi fleets without human drivers. The technology crossed the threshold from promising to proven years ago. Countries and regions will compete to be at the forefront of autonomous vehicle adoption. China, which has fewer regulations constraining rapid deployment, may transition faster than the United States. The United States may transition faster than Europe, but ultimately every developed nation will reach the same conclusion. The safety and economic benefits of removing human drivers from the equation are simply too significant to ignore. When your phone's GPS can navigate better than you can, when a computer system can react to obstacles 100 times faster than your reflexes, when the data overwhelmingly proves that automating the task saves thousands of lives every year, the question becomes, why would we allow humans to drive at all? Within the next 20 to 40 years, you probably won't be allowed to drive on a public road. Your children might view manual driving the same way we view piloting our own airplanes, something only specialists and enthusiasts do in controlled environments, not something ordinary people do commuting to work. The future of driving isn't more regulation or new safety features. It's the complete and total elimination of human drivers from the equation. The real reason humans won't be allowed to drive in the future isn't complexity or technology gaps. It's the simple, undeniable fact that we're not good at it. The machines are better. They're faster, safer, more reliable, and more consistent. Once that becomes clear to policymakers, and the data already makes it clear, the transition becomes inevitable. The age of human driving isn't ending because of dystopian government overreach. It's ending because safety and economics demand it. And honestly, when you look at the numbers, that's exactly how it should be.